in the Hamptons only cost them a mere $26 million. And yet there was still something missing in Jay's life. Something big and sandy that might fill that void. So the hip-hop legend decided to drop $4 million on an island in the Bahamas. And the idea of an island seemed so appealing that the singer decided his wife and daughter shouldn't miss out. As a treat, the couple got Beyoncé her own tropical piece of paradise that's twice as nice this time in Thailand for $8 million. So how do you reckon they managed to visit all their estates around the globe? Black Friday special at American Airlines? Well, how about your own American airline? But how did the Carters come into the possession of a $40 million Bombardier Challenger 850? Well, it turns out it was a slightly extravagant gift. But what was the occasion? It must have been pretty major, right? A 10-year anniversary, the birth of their children, marriage, 40th birthday at least. Nope. Turns out Beyoncé just ran out of ideas on how to congratulate her man for Father's Day. Probably the most expensive Father's Day gift ever, I bet. At that price, the jet itself is almost another estate in its own right. There's a whole leather living room, a separate bedroom, 2 full bathrooms, and there's enough space for 16 people on board. Yeah, on board. You didn't forget we're talking about a plane, right? And while it might have come literally out of the blue, Jay-Z wasn't too surprised. He's a keen aficionado of aviation after all. The rapper invested a bundle of cash into an app called JetSmarter that lets you hire a private jet. That's right, he invented Uber for Gulfstreams. Back down on Earth, Beyoncé and Jay-Z use cars just like anybody else. Monday to Friday, Jay takes his everyday, regular, $670,000 Pagani Zonda to work, switching out to a $2 million Bugatti Veyron when visiting his parents on the weekends. And when vacation time rolls around, it's time to load up the station wagon as the family pile into their $1 million Mercedes van. Not your everyday van, of course. This one was made specially to Beyoncé's very exacting requirements. They demanded hand-stitched Italian leather seats in a special color of cream with chestnut lining. And naturally, the star also needed a $150,000 sound system and a decent bathroom. And move over, Poseidon and Amphitrite, it's the Carters that rule the waves. The family spend their holidays on board their super yacht, Galactica Star, which costs just under $2 million per week to charter. But let's forget about Tonka toys for adults. What happens when one of the wealthiest parents on Earth wants to treat their children? Well, Blue Ivy has been treated like a millionaire her whole life. Or even longer than that, since before she was born. Her thoughtful parents rented a birthing suite in upscale Lenox Hill for a pretty reasonable $1,700 per night. And when their little princess was finally born, the Carters splashed out on a whopping $1.5 million worth of baby accessories. The list includes only the necessities, a high chair, Swarovski Natch, and a stroller that cost $50,000, and a homely little rocking horse made of solid gold. Wait, what? Yes, let me repeat, a solid gold rocking horse. Is that even possible? Well, apparently so. And for her first birthday, Blue's parents decided to present their girl with something a bit more mundane for her girl her age. Like a Barbie. No, not that kind of Barbie. More like the $80,000 diamond-encrusted kind. And of course there was a party. The cake cost $2,000, and Blue Ivy was treated to over $33,000 worth of toys and jewelry, which, well, when compared to a private island, seems kind of miserly. Still, if you thought that wasn't quite enough for their kids, look at the outrageously expensive things Beyoncé and Jay-Z bought for the birth of their twins. They probably thought, well, where'd you go from a solid gold rocking horse? How about gold bassinets when it comes to our beautiful babes? Et voila! Here they are. The couple splashed out nearly $85,000 on the matching gold bassinets for little Sir and Ruby. So it seems like everything in the newborns' lives costs a fortune. But to balance it out, the first Instagram pic with their mum brought in a lot of income. In just 30 minutes, the post got a record 700,000 likes. And that's nothing, because today it has more than 10 million. With all the publicity, crazy money, and pressure the kids must receive, Beyoncé has taught her children how to deal with it all while remaining your own strong, independent human being. She shared her vision with Vogue. It's important to me that they see themselves as CEOs, as bosses, and that they know that they can write the script for their own lives, that they can speak their minds, and they have no ceiling. We're curious what kind of careers the kids will follow when they're all grown up, but for now, it seems like one of them has already become a bit of a diva. With $10,000 dresses from the famous kids haute couture artist Mishka Aoki, Blue Ivy is already as stylish as her starlit mum. And now we know how the Carters live and what presents they buy, we have to ask ourselves, what does this extremely wealthy family do with their free time? Well, the Carter couple are classic romantics, and Paris is one of their favorite destinations. Last time they visited the City of Love, they stayed in a 2-story penthouse suite at the Hotel Le Maurice overlooking the Tuileries. And just in case their chef thought they were getting a day off, the suites included a private kitchen, a glass-enclosed dining room, and an enormous private open-air terrace. So, did they find it on Booking.com? Unlikely, as this room would be off the scale at a jaw-dropping $20,000 per night. And while staying in Paris, the musicians happened to spend their wealth over a load of hotels and restaurants. But the couple also helped increase local museum attendance. That's right, thanks to Beyoncé and Jay-Z, the Louvre broke their visitor record. Now you might remember the duo shot their 8th music video in the Louvre, which means they rented out the entire museum. And according to The Guardian, that definitely had an impact on the popularity of the already packed place. 10.2 million people visited the Louvre in 2018, which beat the previous record set back in 2012 of 9.7 million visitors. And alongside the travel expenses, we haven't even touched the millions spent on looks and accessories. Ever noticed how Jay-Z's hair looks? Well, probably not. But you'd be surprised to know that his not-so-remarkable hairstyle costs a fortune to maintain. Mr. Rockefeller himself has one of the most famous barbers in the world. He's called Johnny Cake, and it's his job to be available whenever Jay-Z decides he needs a bit of a trim. Johnny cuts the hair of other world-famous rappers like Kanye West, Tyler the Creator. And it's kind of funny how Cake is still a bit overwhelmed and quite confused about his own popularity. It's dope that people are willing to pay for my expenses and my daily rate to fly me out for a haircut.